Yuletide merriment! I hope your season is proving joyful, but if it isn't, let's lift the spirits by taking the piss out of some cars for a bit. We're punching upwards, it's all good. Let's go! Weird one to start with, okay, because it's not that the Tarraco is bad, it's bloody good in fact, but rather that it's sort of pointless when you put it into context alongside the virtually identical Skoda Kodiaq, which is much cheaper. Someone wearing a suit who's deep in the big vag tunnel of power might soon ask what the Seat brand actually means, and would be wise to finger the Tarraco as an example of what it should not. So the really sensible buyer of a really sensible family SUV is going to go for the more sensibly priced one. It's what I'd do anyway. Much like the Tarraco, the Koleos isn't a bad car by any means, but it also begs the question, why? It's a 5-seat SUV that's only marginally bigger than Renault's other 5-seat SUV, but it costs thousands of pounds more. You might think that it looks great, or maybe you've just seen one on a mega cheap lease deal and you just want to know what it's actually like. Or maybe you just like the fact that the word Koleos means testicle in Latin. The kids go out of one and go into another, so to speak. It's quite poetic. I'm not sure I'll keep that in. I've put this thing in here at the risk of upsetting the MG massive again, but I just don't understand how anybody could really love this car aside from an odd sense of badge nostalgia. I mean, it's fairly well priced and the quality's okay and it's alright to drive, but take the MG badge from the ZS and you're left with a crossover so generic that it might as well be sold at IKEA. Plus, if that happened, you'd then be able to knock together bits of your MG of a weekend, like in the old days, when everything was much, much better. And then you end up coming to the inevitable conclusion that there's no good reason for this to even exist, which is probably taking it a bit too far and is probably upsetting for some people, but there you go. Almost certainly the dullest car on sale today, it's actually hard to believe that this could come from the same showroom that has a Supra in it. Love beige, love the Toyota Camry. It's all a bit minor nation ambassador, a bit Ferrero Rocher.
The ambassador's receptions are noted in society for their host's exquisite taste.
Oh, is this Camry? You were really spoiling us. Okay, so before we get to my least favourite, here quickly are a few cars that didn't quite make this list. It's an amazing feat of engineering, it's supremely refined, it's really quick, but I just wish it had a little more madness with its obvious genius, you know?
Here's Gascoigne. Brilliant play!
I don't know. I do know really I'd be a pretty reviewer if I didn't, right? Let's not go down that rabbit hole. I just think that this is a bit clumsy to drive, has a few easily avoidable flaws, and is as boring and predictable as a car journalist calling an MPV boring and predictable. This would be a pretty interesting place to put your 20 odd grand. Until I found out, that is, that the car I'm driving costs 30,405 of your pre-Brexit pounds. Not a chance. DS. It could come with a solution to Brexit as standard and it still wouldn't feel like it was worth that much.
Who knows about Brexit?
Yeah, quite.
No one's got a f***ing clue.
Number one, drums go bump, bump, bump.
The Ford Mondeo Hybrid is a recipe that takes one of the least interesting cars on sale today and gives it a very poorly executed version of the most depressing sort of drivetrain. Imagine if all you could eat for the next 3 years was sliced white bread with generic own brand margarine. Just horrible. Just to be in this car is to understand exactly why people started abandoning this sort of stuff and buying SUV-shaped cars instead. Excuse me French, but it is absolute mad. Asking this to accelerate is like asking Kevin Patterson to wash the car.
£5 we agreed and £5 it is. That is so unfair!
I probably am going to be overboard here, like. Sorry Ford. It's just really exciting when you get a bad car. Okay, so there you go. Sorry if you own one of these cars, but do remember that I'm not having a go at you personally, okay? Just something to think about before you start typing. Thanks for watching anyway, and seriously, thank you for all your support this year. Thank you for your likes and your comments and for subscribing to the channel. It really makes a massive difference, and I hope that 2020 is bigger and better for everyone. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year!